My teacher pulled me aside after class and said, "You're not safe at home. Come with me now." Mrs. Livingston had never touched me before, not in the 3 years I'd been in her English class. So when her hand closed around my wrist as everyone else filed out for lunch, my first instinct was to pull away. Her grip tightened and her voice dropped to a whisper. The hallway was emptying fast, students flooding toward the cafeteria, and she pulled me back toward her desk. "Mrs. Livingston, what are you doing? I have algebra next period and I can't just leave." My voice came out higher than I intended. She didn't answer, just pulled me into the hallway and toward the side exit that led to the faculty parking lot. She was breathing hard like she'd been running, and I realized her hand was shaking where it gripped my wrist. We burst through the side exit and she pulled me toward a silver sedan parked in the faculty lot. She unlocked it with fumbling hands and practically shoved me into the passenger seat before running around to the driver's side. The engine started and we were pulling out of the parking lot before I could process what was happening. "You need to call my parents right now or I'm calling the police." I reached for my phone in my backpack, but Mrs. Livingston's hand shot out and grabbed my wrist again, hard enough to hurt this time. Her eyes met mine and what I saw there made my blood turn cold. "Your mother called the school this morning," she said finally, her voice shaking. "She told the principal she was withdrawing you effective immediately. She said your family was moving out of state for your father's job and you wouldn't be returning." The principal signed the paperwork without question because everything looked official. All the forms were correct. "But Iris, your mother also sent a withdrawal form for your sister Melody. Your sister who died 4 years ago. Melody had drowned in our backyard pool when she was 6 and I was 12. An accident that destroyed our family in ways we never recovered from. That doesn't make sense. Mom wouldn't fill out forms for Melody. She can barely say her name out loud. You're wrong about this. You have to be wrong." But even as I said it, doubt was creeping in. Mom had been acting strange for the past week, crying at random times and hugging me too tight, telling me she loved me more than anything in the world with this desperate edge in her voice. Mrs. Livingston took a sharp left turn, and I realized we were heading out of town toward the highway. I've been teaching for 18 years, and I've seen patterns before parents who withdraw students suddenly with vague explanations about moving, about new opportunities. Most of the time it's innocent, just families relocating for work or personal reasons, but sometimes there are warning signs that something else is happening. Your mother filled out forms for a dead child, Iris. That's not a simple mistake or a clerical error. That's a woman who's dissociating from reality or trying to erase what happened or planning something terrible. My phone buzzed in my hand, and I looked down to see 3 missed calls from Mom and a text message that made my stomach turn over. "Where are you? Come home right now. We need to talk about something important as a family." I showed it to Mrs. Livingston and watched her face go even paler. She pressed harder on the gas pedal and the speedometer climbed past 70 as we merged onto the highway heading north. "I need to call someone," Mrs. Livingston said, more to herself than to me. "I need to contact authorities who can help us, but if I call the police right now, they'll just send you home. You're a minor and your parents have legal custody, and there's no evidence of immediate danger. Just my instinct based on paperwork that could be explained away as a clerical mistake. We need more time to figure out what's really happening before anyone forces you back to a situation that might not be safe." I wanted to argue, wanted to insist she was overreacting and my parents would never hurt me despite their grief and their weirdness. But Melody's face kept floating through my mind. Her smile on the last morning before the accident, the way Mom had screamed when she found her floating in the pool. What if Mrs. Livingston was right? My phone rang again, and this time it was Dad calling. I stared at his name on the screen, my thumb hovering over the answer button. Mrs. Livingston glanced over and shook her head firmly. "Don't answer it yet, not until we understand what's happening." The phone rang 4 more times and then stopped, followed immediately by a text from Dad that was just one word: "Call immediately." We drove for another 20 minutes before Mrs. Livingston pulled off the highway into a rest stop parking lot. She turned off the engine and sat gripping the steering wheel, her knuckles white with tension. "I'm going to tell you something that might sound insane, but I need you to listen to the whole thing before you react." And that's when things took a turn I never expected. Full story is linked below or on my channel.